Hi guys, welcome back. This is Miss Dieguez. Today I want to talk to you about the sum of the measures of interior angles of a polygon. So to begin, I want to talk to you about the measures of the angles in a triangle. So we already know that in a triangle, when we add the three angles, it gives us a total of 180 degrees. We also should know or should remember that in a square or any four-sided polygon, the measures of the four angles adds up to 360 degrees. So I want to talk to you more about how we get these numbers. Okay, so what I did here is I have my rectangle or my square, and I'm gonna go ahead and draw a diagonal from here to here, okay? Or I'm gonna draw a line from this vertex to this vertex. By doing that, I created two triangles, right? So the first triangle is 180, the second triangle is 180 as well. So if I add these two together, I get a measure of 360 degrees. So that's where the number comes from. Now, of course, we have different shapes, different polygons. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you for a five-sided polygon. So this is a pentagon. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna pick a vertex, and that's where I'm gonna draw all of my diagonals coming from, okay? So it is very important that we don't have any lines overlapping. So if I pick this vertex for my lines to come from, then I need to make sure that all my lines come from this vertex. I can't have a line coming from this vertex and then another line coming from this vertex, because then my lines overlap, creating extra triangles, okay? So again, very important, if you pick this vertex, then stick to that vertex. So what we are doing here is I'm gonna draw my first line, which creates this triangle here. And then I draw this other line, which creates these two here, okay? Now I can't combine this vertex and this vertex because that doesn't create any triangles. So then the only ones that can create triangles are these two. So we have 180, 180, 180. So we have 183 times, so 180 times 3 by 40. So we move on to the next shape, which is a six-sided polygon, so a hexagon. And again, what I have to do is I have to make sure that I pick a vertex. So in this case, I'm gonna pick that vertex. I can pretty much pick any vertex, but I'm gonna pick that one. I draw my first line. Again, I can't start here because drawing a line from here to here doesn't create a triangle. So I move on to the next one, which is right there. Next one, the next one, and that's the last one. So 180 times 4, because there's 4 triangles, that gives us 720 degrees. So what these numbers mean is that if we take, for example, here, all these angles and add them together, that should give me 540. So adding this angle plus this angle plus this angle plus this angle plus this angle should give me 540 degrees on any five-sided figure, closed figure, okay? And then of course here, it should add up to 720 when you add this angle plus this angle plus this angle plus this angle plus this angle and plus this angle. So adding all those 6 angles should add up to 720. Of course, we don't want to be caught doing something like this for a really big shape, like a 100 polygon, right? 100-sided polygon. So we did come up with a formula, and our formula says the sum of the measures of the interior angles equals n minus 2 times 180. In this formula, the n stands for number of sides. Now, why do we have n minus 2? N is the number of sides. So when I had 4 sides, how many triangles was I able to draw? 2, right? So 4 sides minus 2 gives me 2 triangles. When I had 5 sides, I was able to draw 3 triangles. So 5 sides minus 2 leaves me with 3 triangles. And then lastly, when I had 6 sides, I subtract the 2, and that leaves me with 4 triangles. Okay, so that's why we are subtracting 2 every time. Now, why are we multiplying times 180? Well, every time we have a triangle, right? Which is 180. Here I have 2 triangles, so I multiply 180 times 2, 180 times 3 for the pentagon, 180 times 4 for the hexagon. So that's why we're multiplying times 180 all the time. So that's just a little bit about where the formula comes from. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to work out an example for you guys. And so, as I said, we have what is the sum of the interior angles of a 100 gun. So, of course, I don't want to draw a polygon with 100 sides. That's going to be a little bit too much. So I'm going to use my formula, right? So I know that n is 100 sides. So I take the n, substitute it with 100. 100 minus 2 gives me 98. So my formula right now says sum equals 98 times 180, which gives me 17,640 degrees. And so that's all for this question. So this question says that if we add all of the angles in a 100-sided figure, the total is going to be 17,640 degrees. Moving on to a little bit more difficult example. Now we are given the sum of the interior angles of a polygon is 2,160. We are looking for how many sides. So we have the sum, but we don't have this part. Okay, so again, the sum was 2,160, and I didn't know how many sides, so I left the n there. Of course, we want to go ahead and solve for n. So to do that, I'm going to begin by moving the 180 over to the other side. And so since I'm multiplying 180, I want to go ahead and divide by 180 on both sides. Dividing by 180 on the right side cancels those two. And so I'm left with n minus 2 on that right side since these two canceled. And when I do 2,160 divided by 180, that gives me 12. So I have 12 equals n minus 2 now. I still need to isolate the n. So I want to go ahead and add 2 on both sides so that these 2 can cancel here. And so they cancel, and I'm left with 14 equals n. So what this means is that a figure with the sum of interior angles of 2,160 degrees has 14 sides. So I'm going to move on to our very last problem. So the last problem that I'm going to work with you is asking what is the measure of each interior angle of a regular polygon with 6 sides. Okay, so what is the measure of each interior angle of a regular hexagon? So over here, we have the sum, right? The sum includes all of the angles. So when I'm talking about the sum, I'm talking about this, the angle down there below, and then these angles, right? So all of these put together. Now, I only want the measure of just one. So I only want that measure there. Now, I know that this is a regular hexagon, right? Which means that all of these sides are congruent. So what that means is that this is the same as all of the other angles. So all of the angles and all of the sides have the same measure. That's what regular means, okay? So if I get the sum and then just divide by however many angles or sides there is, then that should give me just one measure, right? So then in my formula for the sum, I'm gonna go ahead and at the end, divide by the number of sides, and that should just give me 1. So then that's my formula. So I know that this is a hexagon, so 6 sides. 6 minus 2 is gonna give me 4 times 180 over 6 sides, and that gives me 120 degrees. So what that means is that this is 120, this is 120, this is 120, 120, that measures 120 as well, and this measures 120 as well, okay? If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below on the section for the homework, or you can feel free to send me a text message or an email. Have a good day.